He just walked away and told the Red Cross. Chief of Staff, our technology is not equal to the Tay-Sun base, but it's also a matter of no way. In terms of weapons research and development, the professional is not in the folk. He sighed. The end of the world has just come. The talent was stolen by them. We can only go from the vicinity of the university. The same research department inside. Talent selection. Red Pepper anger training. If it wasn't for these damn slaves. Always wanted to run away. We waste a lot of resources on people. They are like that. Dishonest organization, Kier sermon. They just see them as prey. Do they really believe that in the end times there will be a Holy Mother? The flute is the only force. They don't rely on the government to create a disaster shelter. They're also the most engaged organization. They don't use force to dominate like other powers that affect others through their beliefs. Religion. Family Sandbar family quickly follow her talk. As long as we can. In the area of Tay-Sun base, cut a piece of fat. We'll ease the current pressure. Finally, in the end world. The root cause of all problems, it's a lack of resources. Red Pepper practice waving, but want to take over the Jiang and Tay-Sun highway. You have to stabilize the back first. Ask the engineering department to speed up the research. To make the function of this kind of explosive necklace more stable. Safety may be temporarily not considered, but make sure they can explode. The bar nods. Remember the words of the Red Pepper. It could explode. I understand. Suddenly, the teacher stopped and asked. The vanguard troops sent out. Past days. How many people returned? I answered. Most of them have returned. Even those who haven't returned. He also reported on the situation. Except for Kier Highland Team 5. In front of him, who has not returned. There's also no news reports. I've heard of the Highlands. Not from you. Highland is your cousin. He was captain of the armed police in Tianhai City. This cousin has an arrogant personality, except for Red Pepper. No one in Yangtze made him submissive. This man, despite his age, is stubborn. But suddenly, she had a bad feeling. You feel something. It's not as simple as people think. He turned to the bar and asked. He won't be in any danger. Change the glasses on your nose. Now in the 5 great powers of the Tianhai City. If you consider the yes, or there is no other power of the Tay-Sun base. The relationship between the two is extremely complex. No one dared to start a war. Even in the face of the snows. People who constantly welcome people. Join the messy cult. We don't want to create a major conflict. So, even when the Highlands meet people from another power, the enemy must respect his face. Unless my eyes are cold through the glass. They're competing for a particular resource. Something precious. Only then will they break the deal and attack. The Red Pepper's eyes became sharp. In Tianhai City, we are with other great powers, has occupied key resource points. The remaining resources, though important, not to the point of causing full-scale conflict. We are relatively assured of the other forces. The millions of weapons will not be against us. And the base also follows the principle. I did not offend you. You did not offend me. Except for the sermon. After a thought. Speak carefully with your heart. Keep in touch with the Highlands. We have to find a way to contact him. If you really can't get in touch. Maybe he's had a problem. One of the soldiers ran into the news. We found no trace of the Highlands. And others. Both the person and the car disappeared. What is the surprise of my son? The personality plateau is even more extravagant. They dare not violate my orders. Cut off contact with the base and go to him. Something must be wrong. He asked the soldier, "Is there any way to find out where they are?" There's also their satellite phones in the car. There must be a new locator. The soldier said he couldn't find any equipment. This is where people are most suspicious. We basically can't find a locator signal. They're like nothing disappears. I sat on my chin for a moment and said, "It can be said that there has been preparation. I'm sure they're not greedy for the time being, but soon wanted to target the Yangtze base. We're going to launch a paycheck. The missing plateau is just an SAO signal." Red wine makes you think. The base of the Wu Than government or the Twiat Church. Whether it's the AI or the remnants of the Tay Sun base. The family speaks up. I feel. The location of the incident is the nearest million weapon base. We can contact them first. Let's see what they say. It feels right to talk. Red Pepper, take out equipment raw. Call the $1 million base. New Yen Din, my cousin is gone. In the factory of Hong Kong Far Group of Jiang Highway. You know what? Move the scene to the million weapon base. After listening to the Wei Hai, immediately understood that Red is doubting me. His voice is deeper than yours. Come quickly. But I can tell you about this. It's got nothing to do with our $1 million base. We also have people missing. He sent people to the Tay Sun base to investigate, but they died at the hands of Zhang. Because of this, the sea is also full of insecurity. I don't know who did it. Nu Yen Din Hai said coldly, in Tianhai City mutants are too rare. Even if there's mutants out there, they are also hard to come by. We are serious about training our soldiers. So I want to ask your families, are you guys behind this? To understand the meaning of Nu Yen Din Hai, he is also skeptical that there's some power that's quietly acting, which could include their flourishing bases. So both of our houses are damaged. The eyes of Red Pepper become much wiser. In the whole Tianhai City, not many people have the power and at the same time confront both of our families. The base doesn't like to fight. There's no reason to fight us. It can only be snow. Smiling, you said no wrong. Surely the snows did this. He and his wife share the same thought. They have long disliked snow. A religious organization, always trying to absorb the survivors. In Tianhai City. How to ask the hypocrite Hai. His anger swallowed the suture of the ivory. Hai replied coldly, the king is a very important person. Snow White dared to kill him. Will make them pay 10 times as much. Smiling is very good. This is a great opportunity to teach them a lesson. After discussion, both sides decided to take this opportunity, attack the preacher headquarters, to move the scene to outside Zhang's shelter. The plague is in the house right now. Repair lines and hiding places. We're all in this together. No lazy AI. Very fast. The outer lines are basically built. Expand translation. Not so much on the first line. Is invincible. Just think of it as a makeshift fire zone. If you meet a strong enemy, can penetrate the first line of defense. Don't worry too much. Just make sure it's a safe time to retreat. To a hiding place. To expand the thought. When the time comes, it can be connected to a computer and directly control these weapons while sitting in the shelter. It would be a perfect fortress. Girl 6 suddenly waved her hand to Zhang Yi. We have also completed the repair of all external walls of the shelter. Don't forget to give them a compliment to encourage the spirit. That's great. Stand and look around the lines of the shelter, and they haven't taken any action yet. We didn't even find any trace of the detective. Look out the leaders of the million weapons and Yang Sheng. Very not simple. After a tiring day at work, whole group, I had a dinner full of delicious food. Together, they celebrated the completion of the project. At this point, he came over and told Zhang Yi, I want to bring some food to my students. The translation is ready. The cashier took the bag of food and smiled and said thank you. Then go forward from the accelerator. Look at the shadow of your back. There was a thought in his eyes. After a while, browse back. The expression on your face, not in a good mood. Apparently, the Kier student said something to her. Salary does not mention itself. The police did not ask instead. Someone will naturally do this for him. Yang Han stepped forward and asked the lady subtly, why do you look so unwell? Did they speak ill of you or not? Yang Han, hold my hand and speak in a low voice. Slowly, they are too much. We even feel that. Salaries should no longer interfere in their affairs. Just let them manage themselves. You didn't do anything wrong. If they are wrong, it is their fault. Even if you ignore them, you're not responsible. The mood of the salary is somewhat improved. Really is so SAO. No matter what, we are still their teachers. I saw the angry woman turn away. Shuang Yi thought silently, the wicked are not of me. It's fair to say this feeling is also NDTO. Move the scene to the training ground. Tell her the salary. If you really feel dangerous, we can discuss keeping them close to the hideout. The show shows its sincerity. Of course, because our relationship with them is not close. So this needs to be decided through a general meeting. When listening to the proposed translation, the salary is touched. However, after some hesitation, she slowly shook her head. Not so temporarily. Past days, I've talked a lot about grace and grace. Time at school Sky Bar. It's done a lot of damage to them. They were shunned by their classmates. And I'm their teacher. It is also impossible to avoid responsibility. Let's let them first train in magnetic resonance. Rousing said with a beaming smile on her face. Even though SAO now, people are living very peacefully. There's no danger. You really don't have to worry so much. He laughed, winked, and nodded in praise. Get such thinking is good. Even though we live in the end times, it's very important to maintain a good personality. If he stretches his back, I should learn from you. You don't have to be afraid all the time. The world is good, tomorrow is full of hope. Right? The salary shows Shuang Yi with a lazy appearance. I can't help laughing. It looks so cute. I rarely hear these words from your mouth. She tied her hair swimming horse up and winked with chapter translation. So, we're starting today with a martial arts program. Okay. Curious translation program, what are we practicing today? He just broke the boot and said, you learn martial arts to deal with melee combat situations. So wushu and wrestling are very useful. Today, we're going to practice Brazilian wizardry. Smile and nod your head. Brazilian martial arts is a very technical martial art, and the two often have to wrap up. In the process of training. Very good salary. Usually use a quick kick. Grip your opponent's neck with your thighs. Or clamping the opponent's head under the armpit, using his overwhelming power to make him surrender. The fluids contorting her face with every move she makes. Just finished this move. She saved, quickly moved to another movement. The young man's head fell to the floor. Make Trong must scream. I can't stand it. I surrender. I can't stand Trong Yi. She let go of the young man Ra and sat him up. New campaign after a few tricks of her salary. Was gasping for breath. I'm sweating. While the salary lady is resting and drinking some water. Then she looked at her and thought to herself. He feels that. This woman's mood has changed. Since entering the hiding place. Her head is desperate for the end of the world. Because I can't see the future. Not finding the meaning of life. She could only put her hope in. Protect the students. But now, after entering the hiding place, she lives a leisurely life. Even better, when I was a teacher at a high school. A peaceful environment can melt the heart. It helps people understand the beauty of life. Even though the salary is still working every day, bring food to the students. She also communicates more with others. Hiding place, and the smile on her face was also more. I think this is a good trend. A person in need. There is a new desire. It can be used in his strategy. Help her become a card in his hand. At night, Zhang Yi lay in bed thinking. Should we do that or not? This is also the right time to deal with annoying students. In magnetic resonance, the method is very simple. Just put these satellite phones in their rooms. The people of the Yangtze base will surely find out. In this world, at the end of the world, human life is like the grass of the ocean base. They certainly will not forgive them. This scheme borrows the hands of others to kill them. It can create a perfect ending. He opened the door to space. Get the satellite phone, Ra. But it's also potentially risky. That soon caught the attention of the Yangtze base. Even of the million weapon base. Soon, this will be a new target. Even if the unnatural epidemic is revealed, being discovered is only a matter of time. He's thinking about what he's doing. The epidemic begins to delusion in the heart, capable or not, that we kill people without being detected by two large bases. Then we too can be at peace. Live a happy life, and they rule the city of Tianhai. If possible, he certainly doesn't want to clash with any AI or any power. He sighed for a moment to wake up and said to himself, dream or real? Why is there such a good thing? People in Gypsy, any body. Conflict with other major powers. It's inevitable. He's dealing with mutants, including key members of Yang Sheng. And the million weapon base, the enemy cannot fail to investigate. Even if you're lucky not to be discovered. After the Tay Sun base was destroyed, other houses will definitely come here to divide Tay Sun area and Muk Lok apartment. Then they can easily ignore existence. The strength and the essence of Zhang Yi. Wai Trong Yi squinted his eyes and said, we cannot achieve peace just by easily forgiving and stepping back. So we're going to create a fierce battle. Shock the whole world. It's not enough just to scare them. Just stay in the line that's been built. Who can threaten us? After a moment of thought, he with steady eyes. We've tightened the satellite. We've decided, even if you die, never leave the VI line of defense. He gave the satellite phone to Hoa Hoa Hoa. Whisper a few soft words. Zhang Yi's room door suddenly opened slowly. Flowers came out of the room quietly. He's got a satellite phone in his mouth. And quietly walk down the stairs. Go out the main door of the hiding place. The flower was running fast across the river. From acoustics. Move the scene to a big church in Thien Phung area. Inside echoed the voices of many cardinals. The cardinal came. In a large church in the Tien Phung area. More than 1,000 Chen followers. Eyes forward and whisper a prayer. The center of attention is a young woman. Red outfit. When you open your mouth, a paragraph as deep as a melody, echoed in the church. Snow in the sky. All things on earth. Our bodies are born from the earth. Our souls come from on high. The sun and the moon illuminate our bodies. The pure white snow washes our souls. And so on in clouds. Right after that, the Kier believers also began to sing according to that song. After singing it, girl with red outfit stretches 2 hands out and says, I give my body to the cold winds, blowing through the earth. Feel the miracle from heaven. Where the people of the snow god exist, on this land, I pray for our soul. Forever peace and happiness. I hope I can share the joy with everyone, as well as sharing sadness. May God bless the people of the snow. Let us use our souls and bodies as witnesses. A thin woman holding a child in her arms. Slowly walking through the crowd, he comes straight in front of you, no matter what. She trembled on her knees and held the baby up. Master, please save your life. The girl in the red shirt looked at the baby. The baby's skin was white and weak. It doesn't seem to survive. She gently placed her right hand on the child's forehead. A warm water, a cool breeze, along with the white light that flashed through the church. After a while, the child slowly opened his eyes and began to cry. When I hear the cry, and everyone in the church was excited. In the eyes of magic. Miracle. They started singing in unison, honoring the great snow god, honoring the snow god, the great patriarch of humanity. This is one of your special abilities. Mainstream sermons are not fake. It's capable of curing diseases. This ability has attracted so many followers. There is great merit and blessing. This part of grace, it happened many times during the ceremony. After so many blessings, there was no obvious sign of fatigue on the face. A long-haired young man standing next to, and when you see that, you step up and say, Cardinal, please rest for a moment. We can continue to bless tomorrow. When you hear this word, some believers have not been blessed, in the crowd looking nervous. In this situation, any slight negligence, it can also lead to death. No warning for those who are dreaming. I didn't want to shake my head. Just say, keep going. The assistant of the plaintiff is not. Zheng Yat first reluctantly backed aside. However, right in the process of performing the blessing ritual, suddenly, there was a loud explosion outside. Next was the relentless gunfire. The church immediately became chaotic. Many women are terrified of hugging their children. Close your eyes and dare not open. A scared guy says, what's going on? The rain was still calmly looking at the source of the sound. In the eyes of Zheng Yat first beside her, it flashed cold. Let's protect the cardinal well. Trin Dat take charge of the affairs of the church and deal with external enemies. By order of Zheng Yat Sen, the next morning, stand guard next to you. Not really, in charge of protection. Normal welding. Follow me out to meet the enemy. Zheng Yat first led people through the crowd. Leave the church. The rain does not rub hands, silently pray. Nguyen Tuyet, God bless his believers, and take us out of war and suffering. In the church, the grown men, it seems to be influenced by some power. They stood up, their eyes burning with reverence. They're shouting for your holiness. Because of the snow, they're headed for the big door. After they left, the church door was closed. You don't just talk casually. Let's continue the blessing ritual. At Thien Phong area, outside the headquarters of the Tuyet Church, there's a big war going on. Coalition troops of the Yangtze base and Million Vu base attacked here. The disappearance of his followers make them angry. It can't be controlled. The biggest suspicion is towards heresy. Red training Pepper and Wei Hai lead with those 10 snowmobiles, carrying hundreds of fully equipped soldiers. Attack on the outside of the snows. The difference in weapons and equipment between the two sides is too great. The two major bases were well prepared for the war. There's no shortage of advanced weapons and plenty of ammunition. Sermon. Even though there are guns, it's mostly mainstream stitching. And their fighting techniques are also poor. In a short time, the defenders suffered 7 heavy casualties. Dark red blood dyed red snow-white surface. A red shirt screaming to hold on. We can't let them destroy our homeland. Along both sides of the road and on the floors, a lot of snowflake warriors are hiding. They're holding simple weapons to fight back. Some people are extremely aggressive, not afraid of death. Force explosive. Turn around and pick up the lighter and jump into the fight. He shouted out, "Vi, God of Snow." He just finished risking his life with them. It exploded into a cloud of smoke. Even though their weapons are very primitive, the strategy is also clumsy, but thanks to this risk-free and unafraid of death, they initiated the attack and stopped 2 of them. Joint base. I trained myself to see the scene. Her eyes filled with murder. Because this evil faction brainwashed, they are monsters that are not afraid of death. It really should be eradicated. These people who are not afraid of death rush out from the streets, jump down from upstairs, and even blew themselves up from under the water tree to attack. This way of attack make the red pepper feel afraid. People, she shouted, order to move forward. I told you not to take that bitch back. I want to tear her divine skin. Red hands pointing to the church. If anyone can catch you, I will reward him with 50 pounds of beef. Heard such an attractive reward. The soldiers under her are insane, holding a diffraction machine gun. At this time, some shadows appeared. When you see them, the snow soldier's eyes flashed a ray of hope. The order has arrived. Zheng startled with other basels, with a cold stare at the opponent in front. Soldiers of the 2 bases realize there's some important people. Immediately switch the target and shoot continuously. Let's destroy them. But in the face of a torrential rain of bullets, Zheng Yat first remained calm. He slowly raised his right hand. Stop bullets from flying in front of you. With just this simple gesture, it seems that we've created an impenetrable wall. All the bullets stopped in front of him. Distance more than 1 meter, as if they're indented into a wall. Soft rubber. Zheng Yat first relaxed his hands. All the bullets fall to the ground. He has cold eyes, staring at the opposite coalition. You want to break the SAO peace treaty. The young man stared at the man. Cold, he gritted his teeth and uttered every word. Breaking the peace agreement. You are the ones who act first. After saying it, she didn't give Zheng a chance to respond. She took a big bottle of wine from behind, opened the lid, and take a big sip. She gathered her strength and spewed out a flame from her mouth, turned into a giant fire dragon. The red glow of the fire illuminated a whole road, melting snow over 10 meters in the blink of an eye. Temperature high syncope, more than 10 members of the school burned to ashes. The fire headed straight for Zhang, and some people, even though they're powerful mutants, but still can't help but be amazed. The tremendous power function of red pepper. Zhang Yat first raised his hands to both sides, middle capacity, and pulled 2 trucks out of the snow. Put them in front of you to block the fire of red pepper. Even though the fire was stopped by the truck, the high temperature still startled Zhang. Some cells feel hot in the face. There are some bad soldiers of the snows. Was consumed by the fire of red pepper. The group hurried back a few steps. The genie asked loudly, "Is this a misunderstanding?" "It's our sermon. Always take a neutral position. I don't want to face any power." However, red training and hypocrisy high has shown to ignore. If they were here, purpose is to inflict a severe blow on the snow spear. I don't care about the truth. Just hit first and count later. Red pepper practiced waving right hand forward. The soldiers under her immediately took up arms. "Jump out of the car. You scream to kill me." Even though they can't deal with mutants, dealing with normal prices, it's not a problem. Wei Wei Hai also waved to his soldiers, and the troops of the million weapon base also began to advance. He just went and said, "If we had come, I must give you one severe attack." Zheng Ji noticed that they have no intention of talking to me. His eyes became even more angry. He understood clearly. The enemy wants to destroy the snow. I want them to stop. The preacher must show his strength. Zheng Yat first shouted loudly, "Fight back. They can't get to the church anyway." Troops of the Yangtze base and the million weapon base began to massacre the followers of the snows. They're armed with modern weapons. Excellent defensive gear fitted from head to toe. Especially in cold-resistant conditions, they're completely superior to the snowflake. In the battle between ice and snow, they are confident it's easy to break through the lines of the snows. Push them back. Nguyen Din Hai did not hesitate to act. Immediately, he took a deep breath and spat out a white mist. The ambient temperature immediately drops. Ice and Snow Master, turning people Wei Dai quickly covered in a thick layer of ice. Form solid armor. He gently pressed his right hand to the ground. The surrounding snow and ice immediately fell. Explode, destroy, and LAN Ra towards the snow spear. His image is becoming blurry. Difficult to detect in a snowstorm. Whether it's red or blue, they've all gained power through force. So both of them, they all have the strongest fighting power, and it's scope VI. The combined power of the two is not inferior to the wind. It's even superior in some ways. Their connection creates a big problem for the talk. "Teacher, I know this battle is inevitable." Zheng Yat first, and his eyes flashed a cruel look. He shouted in the name of the snow god, "I will give them punishment from heaven." All the good ones don't hesitate. He used his ability to attack, to confront the two great powers of Kier. The teacher now, they worship the snow spear. From the nooks and crannies like ants crawling raw. They dress tattered skinny. But everyone's eyes flashed with madness. There is no fear. Handles the rudimentary weapons, milling cutters, loud iron sticks. Destroy all the enemies of the snow. Attack. Soldiers from both bases saw this. His mouth revealed a cruel smile. Then pull the trigger in your hand. Don't. The shelves were shot, enough holes. The soldiers were confused. These people are crazy. They use their bodies to stop us. But right at this moment, beside them suddenly heard a strong wind from above. The soldiers of the two bases instinctively raised their heads. Surprise! I saw a black shadow coming down quickly. A crazy snow flute devotee, full of explosives, jumped out of a high-rise building in front of them. On handle under lighter. Rumbling, a terrifying explosion echoed. The body of that man and several other soldiers were scattered. Go to hell together. This scene made all the soldiers feel numb. A nervous captain shouted, "These guys in the snowball cult are completely insane. They are not afraid to sacrifice their lives to attack. Be alert. When you see this scene, you are mad." This time, they only sent a few hundred soldiers to attack. We need someone to protect the headquarters. But from the buildings around the cathedral, thousands of followers of the Snows constantly rush too. This number of people, it makes everyone fight harder. I can't help but frown and curse. Fuck this evil. They used stupid teachings, deceiving how many fools die for them. You have no mercy on these believers. They just feel stupid. To sacrifice my life for those not involved. She watched the mutants of the snow spear. Finally, his eyes stopped on Zhang Yat-sen's body. Zhao Hong trainings told way high. If you want to catch them, you have to catch the king first. Nguyen Din Hai nodded and smiled as easily as eating porridge. Red Pepper practiced drinking a sip of brandy. Activate your abilities. When the power of Red Pepper is activated, half-red lines began to appear on the hands, her legs and face, like every slow-flowing mana. High temperatures cause white smoke to rise around. After drinking, her body became more vibrant. Nguyen Din, it's surrounded by a thick layer of snow. In the blink of an eye, his shadow disappeared without a trace. First of all, you feel the danger. For a moment, his legs were suddenly gripped. I don't know when. Two frozen arms appeared from under the snow. Don't blame him tightly. Tight. The sea slowly appeared. The devil's eyes looked at Zhang Yat first. Cold air welding. Start LAN transmission from 2 pins of Zhang Yat-sen. And then it's like an arrow leaving the bow. Straight to Trin Tian, at an unbelievable speed. You give a right. Fists flaming red, covered in intense flames. Aimed straight at Zhang Yat's head.